So welcome to those who know me and who have come back to listen to another one. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michele Buster, and I have been selling cheese every day for about 27 years now. The Oak Honey. This is a family company. Beira Baixa, before we were in the Beira Alta, this is the Beira Baixa. So it's further east and a little bit further south in Portugal. The Serra da Malcata is a different, like it's more hills than mountains, and kind of like not so lush, but a little bit brown, but it's a very good breeding ground. There's a nature reserve, and this husband-wife team collects a lot of different honey that's there. So many different varieties on what they do, and they have all their own bees. And it's good to look in the PowerPoint so we can see that. So the Beira Baixa from here, it's still about 2.5 hours for me to get there from when we went to the cheese plant. That's if I don't get lost. So this is Frederico, and I would, and the whole family, and they had me in their house. In fact, some people, it was like no business could be done until I went to the house, sat, had a meal with them, and then we could talk business and go see things. So it was nice to spend some time with them, taste a lot of their things. It's a very simple process where you just see a bunch of vats. You see some filters for when you take the honey from the panels and it goes through, and you want to make sure that you're filtering out the stems and different things that come, and the wax, so that you don't get that when you make the honey. So here is actually where honey is made. There are these boxes. Bees you have to have bees travel by night. You take the boxes, the bees are there, you cover them up, you move them, and then you put them down. And the bees get very agitated if, you couldn't get close to them if they're not. So you cover each one, and then you move them in here. And where the honey gets made is inside each of these boxes. There are all the panels, and you take them in the area that you want to collect the type of honey that it is. So if it's oak honey, you need to be near trees and forests, because they're not collecting it from flowers, they're collecting it from the actual trunks and the different plants that are around there. Whereas the flower is different. There's actually, in lavender, there's lavender honey that comes from the flower and that comes from the plant. And depending which part it comes from, the honey has a little bit different characteristics. But inside there will be about 4 or 5 panels, and then there'll be like the honeycomb that you see that's inside there. And I have to say that suiting up, it's not my favorite thing to do. It's very scary to have those bees, swarm around you. But, the people who are dedicated and they really love it, and you really get the land and the terroir of what's around here. Here you go, some bees. So this is the panel. Here you can see wax and the honey that's coming in here. We work with honeycomb too. And instead of taking this panel and pulling it off and then cutting squares of honeycomb out of it, they actually put little boxes in these panels, and the bee makes the honeycomb inside each of the plastic boxes. It's the craziest thing. There's this big, terrible wasp that's been killing off bees across the world. And I haven't heard of it too much in this part of there, but in the north and over in northern Spain, this wasp has been terrible. They behead the bees. So there's been somewhat of a shortage of honey that's out there. With the honey, of course, besides cheeses, it's wonderful with ice cream. You can use it, of course, you know this, from using other honeys instead of sugar, tea and coffee. I really feel that as an oak honey, I like this very much with the Saint George, and I liked it with all the cheeses that are here. I wanted something, just simple and easy to go with, because these cheeses have a lot of personality on their own. Saint George, as I said, is a really good cooking cheese. So you could use it shredded and shaved. It will also melt. How else could we use it there? I'm trying to think of, could be a good Portuguese style for a frico. So where you're just making it into like a a cracker and cooking it down that way. For some of the other cheeses like Alva, it might be fun if sometimes you could like scoop out, cut out the center of the cheese, and you could cook a rice dish and put it inside there and have a really cool way of serving it. Or even pasta. Usually we've seen on some cooking shows, you take a wheel of Parmigiano, which is huge, and you empty it out and then you cook in that. But you can take smaller wheels of cheese and do the same thing. So just empty it out and then use it to decorate. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Since we fly our cheeses in, I went with some of our more regular ones. We do have more esoteric cheeses that are out there, and in specialty stores, they tend to carry more Portuguese cheeses, but it takes a long time to explain them. And so we bring everything by plane, and we bring some things by pre-order only, so that when it gets here, we know exactly where it's going, and those people have a longer shelf life to sell the cheese, because these are, they don't last a long time, and they're not something that we can store in our warehouse for a really long time, and we want the cheese to be happy. Other than that, I thank you so much for spending some time with us today. It's always my honor and pleasure, and hopefully we'll be doing some things more. I think I'm going to take a break for a few months, because times are changing and people want to be away from the computer and out in nature. So thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Michele. That was really wonderful. So for those that are looking to get more cheese, they should be able to go through
Bruno.
Yes. And I would check through there to see whether or not they've picked up some more, or you can always check with them and ask them. It's always a good idea that instead of just going on there and seeing that they're out of stock, they can sometimes tell you when they plan on getting something in, and some of the things you can do. So,
you can write me at Michele with one L at forevercheese.com, and I'll help make it happen. I did talk to them and tell them that, there was a number of people who signed on after they closed the ability to get cheese. So they said that they would build in some. So please, and otherwise you can also write to me and let me know where you're located, and I could maybe help you get another retailer in your area.
Thank you. And for those of you that are first time on this, we also have Taste of Italy, Taste of Croatia, that we've already had a chance to do, and including Taste of Spain. So this makes our fourth in the series. And hopefully by fall, we'll have the charcuterie together and tie that in for our number 5.
Thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate
All right,
it. Thank you,
Michele.
everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.